This is a Creating Forward workshop with energetic activation and deep guided meditation. Do not do this while driving or while operating machinery. This material is copyrighted by Michelle Faith Lucas. Any unauthorized copy or sale of this material is strictly prohibited. Please find a place where you will not be distracted and allow yourself to get very, very relaxed.
Welcome to Lesson 2 in Creating Forward, a course in consciousness, titled Sustenance. What sustains us? What is our true source of sustenance? Well, from my near-death experience, I saw that it is our connection to Source. We are multidimensional beings having a multidimensional experience. And I'm not just talking about in our spirit or in our dreams or astral traveling. I mean, we're having a physical experience. We're having a feeling, emotional experience. We're having a sensory experience, being able to see, hear, taste. We're having an egoic experience. Finding a personality, developing a personality is another dimension of our beings. We're having a heart experience, a communication experience. I can go on and on. We are multi-dimensional beings, and the vast majority of our being is outside of our body. That is what I call spirit. In my near-death experience, I saw that our spirits are not only eternal, but they cross the time-space continuum across all that ever is and all that ever will be. And in that, we have individuated ourselves as a divine, unique expression. Those expressions are trying to be born through this human experience. And as we try to give birth to our unique divine expression, we are in this body that is also having an experience, and sometimes those experiences, those beliefs that we either create or that we have inherited, actually gets in the way of our divine expression. So, what sustains us is that divine expression. The only thing that we really are here to express. It is when we are expressing that, we are in that connection with Source. We are in connection with our spirits, because our spirits are eternal across the universe. That is actually guiding, divining, and protecting, giving us the awareness of what's best for us on our journey. That individuated aspect of us is the one that I call the soul. That's the one who's having the human experience and is just trying to be born. All we need to do is step out of the way. We get to have the physical experiences. We get to have the relationship experiences. We get to have that ego and that personality. But when they create so much resistance that the soul can no longer be born, then we start in a process of what is called dark inertia, into an astral plane shadow existence, and we forget what sustains us. I also saw that on this planet there are about 5% or less of humanity that is keeping that connection with Source. And I saw it as being emitted by a golden light. These people are predominantly in the Himalayas. They are in constant direct connection with Source through their praying meditation. That's what they came on earth to do. That doesn't mean that's what you came on earth to do, or perhaps it is. Whatever makes you feel drawn into it and expanded at the same time. You feel fulfilled is your calling. These great beings are devoted to this practice of emitting the golden light and keeping humanity alive while we express divinity, while we express our individual imprints of the divine, which many scriptures like the Bible and many masters such as Jesus has said. The primary goal is to know thyself. You see, when we know thyself, we allow thyself to be born and expressed. Now let's talk about it in a loose way to the chakras, those energy transformation systems described in yogic practices. This lesson too is still working at the root of our being. The first chakra, or the red light ray, that which is emitted at a much slower frequency. That reflects how secure we feel. Do we feel safe in our body? How grounded we are? How self-contained? How well we do with creating healthy boundaries. If you move up into the second chakra, where we start having inspiration to create and procreate, we have the hormonal systems highly involved with the second chakra. We get emotions involved with our physical body. And then as we move up to the third chakra, where we develop this personality and an ego, a healthy ego is one that keeps us alive and present on earth without letting go of our authentic being. Then we are to move up in our own natural way, in our own natural journeys. We want to move up into the heart chakra before going higher. The heart chakra, the anahata, which literally means the unstricken, is exactly that. It is an area where there is no judgment of anything. It is pure grace. There's no fears. There's no jealousies. There's no ego. There is instead an awareness that when you interact with someone else, you're actually interacting with yourself. What happens very often in our evolution is that we are born. We go through the formative years of creating that first chakra security or insecurity. We go into the inspiration, the excitement, the hormonal stage, and we either become a sensory lover in the flow, or we can become addicted to the senses. Then we move up into the personality, making a nice ego for ourselves. We start defining ourselves largely based on what other people tell us we are. Or we just create a personality that matches our unique divine imprint. Now we go into the heart, the area of the unstricken. Now, did you hear the things I just spoke about on the lower chakras? Maybe addiction to the senses or a issue with insecurity, those kinds of things. Those energies do not align with something that is unstricken. So what happens in our evolution is we get to a time, tends to be in our 20s, that it is time to move into this space of grace, where we allow our souls to unfold in front of us in any type of business or relationship that you came here to express yourself within. Yet we cannot take those insecurities that were created before with us. So something triggers us, a colleague, a success or a failure. Whatever triggers us, it takes us back down to those lower chakras so that we see, oh, we need to heal that, so that we can move up to the flow of the heart where our beautiful souls get to be expressed without hindrance on this earth plane. So If you can think of anything that happened, the triggers and the results, likely in your 20s, especially in the Western world, those were results of an insecurity that you inherited from the past 20 years and possibly inherited within your culture, family dynamics, language from the family and peers, and also in your genetics. We will bring into our awareness today any patterns, language, or inherited feelings that have led to our resistance. Let's start by pulling ourselves back. Close your eyes and just breathe through your nose. Breathe through your nose only. Inhale. Call yourself back from your thoughts. Call yourself back from your worries, concerns, responsibilities, and exhale through your nose only. And again, inhale, pulling yourself back from everyone else, pulling yourself back from your responsibilities or concerns. And exhale through your nose. And one more time, this time imagining a brilliant golden light filling your nostrils as an air going down and filling your lungs, bringing your soul, that divine imprint, completely in your body. And exhale through your nose. Wonderful. That divine imprint, being completely embodied, is present. Your spirit will always be across eternity. But I'm talking about the soul being here is what presence really is. It's easy to find out how present you are by using your imagination. Close your eyes for just a moment. Imagine yourself walking across a field. Can you feel your feet firmly touching the ground? In this imagination part of your brain, can you experience yourself firmly on the ground as you imagine yourself walking across the field? If you do, you're grounded. Your soul's here, feeling safe right now. And that's all that matters, is bringing ourselves back into our bodies, being present and grounded for healing, because it is our soul that provides the healing, as our soul is the connection to the divine. Now, keep your eyes closed. You see that field that you were just walking across. Suddenly, a pond of water appears in front of you, and your feet are bare. And that pond of water is very shallow at first, very shallow. And that water is just gently coming up, touching your toes. And in the distance before you is a mountain. Big, beautiful, strong mountain. And to your left is a flock of birds. And to your right is a bonfire. Now allow an image of anything within that pond of water in front of you. Maybe it's a turtle or a whale or a dolphin or a fish. What's in that water for you right now? Now letting all of your thoughts go, all around you, every possibility, the groundedness, earthliness of the mountain, a high-flying, high thinking awareness of that flock of birds, the heat and passion of that bonfire, and the water, the still or the turbulent water in front of you with its creature inside. Choose one of those. Choose only one between the mountain, the birds, the water, or the bonfire. And imagine it merging with you completely right now. The energy, the essence of that element, whether it's the birds or the water, whether it's the mountain or the bonfire. Imagine that energy merging with you completely, and that you're holding on to it and only it completely. So that maybe you've become one of the birds, but you're none of the other things right now. You're just that one you chose. Or maybe you're the whale or the turtle, dolphin, whatever you see in the water. I'm going to give you a few seconds to embody that only and get all the other images out of your mind. Very good. And start walking into that water, step by step. The water comes up your legs. The resistance builds. And as that water reaches your hips, there is seriously strong resistance between you and that water. And keep holding on to that one element only until the water is over your head and you go under the water as that one element that you chose. And you're holding your breath as that one element. And here you are, having to swim and hold your breath. Swim and hold your breath. And let it go and come up out of the surface. And you forgot for a moment. There's everything out here. There's mountains and trees, animals, fire and birds. And one more time, grab a hold of that element like that's all you are and go under that water. It's just you pushing the water away with your arms as you swim. You feel the resistance against your body. It's just you as that one element. And as you can't hold your breath any longer, you let it go and come up for air. And the sun is overhead. Everything's shining on this planet. You see water, you see rain, you see trees, eagles, doves. You see grass and flowers. And now you can walk back out of that pond of water. You can walk out and you'll feel the resistance getting lower and lower as the water recedes back down to your feet and toes, and you're out of the water, back with all of the elements. And you can open your eyes. You see, this is an analogy to life and the incarnation of our souls. Spirit is everywhere. Spirit contains within it every possibility, just like when you're outside of that water. Everything is possible. You can see everything. And you see these different elements. But you've chosen a very unique expression to take into life. And when you go into life, there is a feeling of a resistance because we are experiencing things as separate when they really are not. It's a part of our experience on earth. Whereas water is actually a part of us in spirit, coming to earth, we get to experience the water as separate from us. And not only that, we tend to embody an element of that expression. For instance, people may come in more as a water sign, such as in astrology, the water signs. These may be your emotional people, your very creative people. They have a great inspiration to create. They may be learning through relationships as well. But they are knowing thyself through their feelings, through their senses. They may not like change always, because every time there's a change, their senses are involved. So they either love the change because they love to create something new, or they may resist the change because the senses may get overtaxed. Maybe the emotions get overtaxed. But they're sensory people. And the change is often based upon the cycles of the moon. Now, who changes the slowest? From our perspective, it's the mountain. It's your grounded earthly people. So if you chose the mountain, you may be one of these people who tend to change more infrequently. But from the perspective of spirit, that mountain is changing very quickly. From our perspective, the mountain is not changing at all, yet it is constantly in motion. It is constantly interchanging element with its environment. It is moving. It is changing. But from our perspective, it's slow. Those people are often here to get grounded and help others to be grounded on the earth. Their pace is slow because they're learning to enjoy the moment and learning the high value of healing by being present in the moment. If you chose the birds see higher than human beings. They see the overall perspective. So they're usually very good at communicating. These are your air signs. Or they love to chatter a lot. They may be called chatterboxes. Which one are you if you chose the birds today? The air element is about getting to a higher perspective. Okay? Often they first go through lots and lots of details. They collect lots and lots of data, can be very analytical, so they can see the bigger perspective. They can be very good visionaries as well, project things well into the future. And then if you chose the fire, that's your fire signs in astrology, and it is your very impassioned people or emboldened people. They are people who want to motivate, and this is the element that changes the quickest. And these are your people who want to change others, change the motion of things, and they themselves tend to change very often. They are good at persuading others, and it doesn't just have to be motivational speaking. They are often leaders in churches, in philosophical manners, in space manners, because they want to change the evolution of how the planet is going or how the people are moving. So you took one of those elements before you were born because it was a part of your unique expression of the divine. And when we get into a body, we forget that we just came from everything, and that everything is actually guiding us. Not only is it guiding us, but it is also the place that sustains us. It is the field of all possibilities of the divine that we came from, that we individuated ourselves from, that is the sustaining force. Once we get into the field of resistance, known as humanity, because we're experiencing everything separate, the more we step out of the way, the more we stop believing in the separateness, the more likely it is that we are very much in tune with our inherent guidance system. and can be a part of that same type of prayer that I saw in my near-death experience with monks and other people on this planet that are using prayer to keep humanity alive, to sustain us. Now, there's two important points to make here. One is that the fact that we were able to individuate ourselves and act like we're separate and become humans is the miracle. It's not the other way around. It's not that we should be on earth begging for a miracle. We just created the miracle. Source just allowed this miracle for us to be born. And the only thing that's happening is for more and more of ourselves to be born. And second, that we need more beings than just that 5% keeping us alive. We kind of came to the brink after thousands of years creating this astral plane and going into this dark inertia. This process is to lift us up first into the heart, to become unstricken, to stop tapping back in to those old programs, largely that we have inherited, which we'll talk about more briefly. Now, another thing with that exercise we just did, not only is that incarnation, but it's our life journey. When we are born, we are at the tip of that lake where that resistance, that water is barely touching our toes. And in those formative years, we're getting the water up to our ankles, maybe. Where most of our being, most of our souls is outside of our body. And our minds have not created a lot of resistance. As we grow and we start believing more and more that everything is separated, and as we build any fears or inhibitions, or some challenging circumstances has arisen, it is like we get into that pond very quickly. The water's up to our hips and the resistance is high. When we build these lower three chakras in a very healthy manner and we energize them, we actually become self-contained. We are like a vessel holding this soul, holding this divine imprint, stepping back, and no one else can tell us who we are, what we came to do. No one else will impact how we feel, how we react, what we believe about ourselves, and how someone else acts does not become a part of our personality. That is someone who's self-contained and has a very strong and healthy energy system for the bottom three chakras. Start with healthy boundaries. One day, we will learn that the primary way to heal humanity is based upon how one person treats themselves. Healthy boundary. How much of our personalities have been developed because we have emulated others? How many of our responses is from a past trauma? How many of our words, actions, vocations, how many of our decisions are based upon inherited patterns that you can learn a lot about in the studies of epigenetics? What I saw in my near-death experience is we can turn off our inherited patterns or we can turn them on. You can either be the divine imprint that you are, that unique, authentic soul that you are, and let the personality step out of the way so that the real you can blossom, or we can keep tapping into the old programs, the inherited beliefs in the genetics. What I see with the DNA is it's an energy field. It's nothing that science will ever fully be able to know because most of the information of the DNA resides outside what they can actually measure with equipment. It's like a library. All the information we have input into it from the supposed separation. We can either turn it on or turn it off. And this brings us to a short poem by Rumi. Late by myself, in the boat of myself, no light and no land anywhere, cloud cover thick, I try to stay just above the surface, yet I'm already under and living within the ocean. Just like the little exercise we just did. By oneself. Once you realize who you really are, you'll realize the thick cloud of this shadow that is making the world act in ways that we didn't come here to act. That shadow is covering our truth. And one of the main signals that gets sparked in the first chakra is our fight and flight. We spoke about that last time. It's a good survival mechanism. But when we're always in fight and flight because of a stressful job or stressful circumstances, that really overtaxes the body, overtaxes the system. And we're not here to just survive, we're here to thrive. Now, as we develop, there's always motion and rest. There is always going to be conflict when different energies are coming together. But the conflict is supposed to be quick. It doesn't have to bring about anger. Anger is a response we've learned. Let me give you a good example of inheritance and how energies like shame, guilt, or anger was learned out of inheritance. In my medical intuition work, I've seen a lot of commonalities. In the mid-1990s was when I first noticed some interesting aspects in the DNA field of many of my clients. Let's say one had an eating disorder, yet this person had one trauma that started the eating disorder 2 decades ago. The emotions have been healed, but the need to still have this eating disorder remained. I could see in the energy field where it was not even theirs. It was from past generations of having the trauma called starvation. And that literally stayed turned on in some of my clients. Now why? It's not their thoughts. They're not thinking of 4 generations back. Instead, it's in the DNA energy field, and this person has been born as a part of the healing for that generation, for the shadow that was created at that time. The way we're supposed to heal it is look it in the eyes, recognize it, dissolve it. We're not supposed to hold that pattern for an entire lifetime to heal one aspect of this shadow. Or let's say there's honor. Honor is a strong energy in many families. And if there's a strong sense of honor in past generations, and maybe it's because they fought in many wars and their family members had a lot of soldiers that they so dearly respected and the sense of honor was so strong. And then you get into today's age and a child comes in and they're doing their own thing, and for some reason the feelings of shame come up a lot. Shame. And relationship tell them that they should be shamed. And they don't like themselves. Instead of seeing something from their childhood in the imprints around their body, I would see imprints from 4 generations back or farther. And I would say, this is not yours. This sadness is not yours. You've inherited it. And what's happened is this person in today's age is not doing the same work that they did as soldiers when the honor was such a strong idea in the consciousness. And this person has lost self-respect and they don't know why. And the relationships make them feel not loved or shamed. Kind of the opposite of honor. And I've seen the opposite. There are cultures that the primary form of punishment is just to shame the person. So they're not violent, and that's the way they keep their community strong, is by saying if you go against our society, we're going to shame you out of it. And then lifetimes later, this soul is reborn, and if they are shamed by someone, it's such a huge deal to their consciousness, such a huge deal that their reaction is severe anger. And then we label them as a mental issue or an anger issue. or we label them as someone not good in our society. When in actuality, what we're not seeing is that shame is the biggest trigger they could have. And maybe it's not in their genetics, maybe it's a past life. And a part of that soul was born in that lifetime, and their tribe, their community had a strong punishment called shame. And then lifetimes later, that soul is wanting to be born even more. More of that individual imprint of the divine is trying to be born, and they come into another body. But that imprint of the shame is so high that it's going to trigger them if someone presents them with a feeling of shame. So, all of those imprints I just spoke of are not from our spirit, where they're not from source. And they need to be dissolved from our consciousness so that we can get up into the unstricken area and blossom forth. In the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna is standing on the field of sacred duty, standing between that human consciousness and wars and violence and fears and honor and taking care of the family, and on the other side is higher consciousness. And he's talking to Krishna, the embodiment of the higher self, the cosmic energies that guide us. He sits dejected and filled with pity, his sad eyes blurred by tears. Krishna gave him counsel. And Lord Krishna says, "Why this cowardice in time of crisis, Arjuna? The coward is ignoble, shameful, foreign to the ways of heaven. Don't yield to impotence. It is unnatural in you. Banish this petty weakness from your heart. Rise to the fight, Arjuna." There's a couple things there. Remember from last class. Pity is not of the soul. When we look at somebody with pity, we're looking at their human self, not that divine self that is being blossomed. Therefore, we are contracting our own energies. Our thoughts, our words should be expansive, okay? Expansive energies is what is aligned with the movement of the universe. What Krishna is saying here is that his higher self is guiding him to do whatever is needed in that moment. If something appears to you, it is to be healed in that moment. What is happening to Arjuna? He is in conflict about which is the truth. And why is that good? Because he gets to be a part of the healing. He is actually healing a part of this astral plane, this shadow, by being confronted with pity, dejection, tears. The higher self is pure knowing. There is no such thing as cowardice. Its only job is to come forward, to pull you forward, to blossom forth your uniqueness. Wherever you are in the moment, whatever shows up, you are strong enough to heal it. And that is why it is showing up for you in that moment. You've been told the opposite. You've been told that you have sicknesses and should be pitied, and everyone should feel sorry for you, and that sickness is a weakness, or that your relationship challenge is a weakness. No, it's a strength, because it has shown up to you as a chance to bring your full self, your authentic self forward. That is a primary mechanism of healing it, of dissolving the shadow, of treating yourself with utmost importance. And you treating yourself with utmost importance is what will heal humanity. Another poem by Rumi, Quietness. Inside this new love die. Your way begins on the other side. Become the sky. Take an axe to the prison wall. Escape. Walk out like someone suddenly born into color. Do it now. You're covered with thick cloud. Slide out the side. Die and be quiet. Quietness is the surest sign that you've died. Your old life was a frantic running from silence. The speechless full moon comes out now. So we're working with this Muladhara chakra, which means foundations. Our primary foundation is our body. The body holds memories. It is conscious itself. It has triggers. It taps into our DNA. It taps into what we've inherited. It taps into past traumas until we heal it. And we heal it by being completely present in our bodies. How well can you imagine walking across that field, touching the earth, strong and steady gait, grounded to the earth? Practice that. That is your first assignment for this lesson, is that every day, take a check. Imagine yourself walking across the field and see how grounded you are. If you have a hard time imagining that, imagine something like a very large elephant with a harness right next to you that you grab onto, because that elephant is good grounded energy that will solidify and bring you into the present moment. The second is to continue with your journaling of your dreams. And the third assignment is to observe your compassion for other sentient beings. Observe your compassion for other sentient beings. So when you have a moment of all of a sudden a thought of look at that poor person, or you have pity, or you care, observe. Be in the silence, be in the quietness, and watch yourself, whether your name is Rebecca or Sue, Doug, whatever. Observe Doug having the compassion, not the pity. The compassion is an acknowledgement that we are one, we have created this suffering together, and I am aware of it, but I'm not going to get involved in it. I'm not going to get involved in pity. So you'll watch your personality, Douglas, Rebecca, whoever, you're going to watch that personality shift from a dejection, contraction energy to an expansive energy of we are one. I'm not going to fall backwards. I see you, so I'm a part of this healing. You're a part of this healing. And it is our divine source that has brought us here and given us this courage to shift this now towards healing and to release that cloud of suffering. And the final assignment is just to once sit down and train your body to get into the feeling of that which you desire. So, as one friend of mine said once, he said, you know, Michelle, I think really what I want in life is to be married and to be rich, and that is all. Oh, that is beautiful. Because if you're rich and you're happily in a relationship where there's joy and expansion and knowing thyself, guess what? You have a lot to give to others. Okay, so what would the body be feeling like? How would the body be acting if you were rich and married? So, your final assignment in this lesson 2 of Creating Forward is to take a few moments, maybe 5 minutes or so, to simply act out your body in the way it would if you already had your desires met. You see, your body instead has been holding a consciousness of the old triggers, of the old wounds, and in what you have inherited possibly from generations back. Put your body into a new physical motion that it is already in that place of achieving all you desire. And one nice side note about your dream journaling. Dreams sometimes come up that are symbols of foundations, such like a square, or the legs of a table, or a house. If you often dream of your childhood home, that home often represents your body. It represents your formative years and how much your soul came into your body. If you're constantly revisiting this in your dream time, you're healing that aspect of yourself that could not get fully into the body. And guess what? You're doing the work in your dream time. And that's not work at all. That's very easy. This red light ray is expressed as our blood, our bones, and our fight and flight system. It is reflected in our survival mechanisms. If you struggle with survival, it really is just about you getting present in your body. Before we go into the meditative activation, we're going to do a little exercise. Please write down in your journal, with the date up top, how safe you feel today. Write 3 lines now about why you feel safe today. Now, breathe in through your nostrils, all the way down into your belly, and exhale through your nose while you move that pen or pencil to your non-dominant hand. Move your pen to your non-dominant hand and breathe in through your nostrils one more time, imagining that golden light coming in through your nostrils, going down, down deep into your lungs. And exhale through your nostrils. And you're in the quietness. And with your non-dominant hand, now write 3 lines why you feel safe today. From the silence, from the quietness, why you feel safe today. Writing from the non-dominant hand allows more of the truth from the soul to come out instead of the dominant personality who thinks that they know what makes them safe. You see, we develop protection mechanisms very early in life, and we get them stored in this first chakra, the red light ray. And these protection mechanisms come in many, many forms, but people tend to take them with them their entire lives and out into their jobs and relationships, their income, everything. An example would be someone who was bullied as a youth, creating very, very strong boundaries where they keep everybody at bay. And it worked. It worked because the bullying stopped when they were a child. It gets integrated into their personality, and then adulthood, that person may come off as someone very cold and separated that other people don't want to be around. Yet the person does not even know how to act different because that protection mechanism truly was integrated into the personality during the teenage years. And they now believe that's them. Well, that's not them. It's an integration from the protection mechanism. So how do we know what we have stored in this area? Well, that's what we do in any creating forward healing session that practitioners learn how to do through energy guidance and imagination. And that's what we're going to do now in our meditative activation. As we go into the activation meditation, for best results, find a chair where you can have a very straight back and your feet planted firmly and flat on the floor. We'll start with a verse as you close your eyes. This verse from the Tao Te Ching. Only through thrift can one be prepared. Being prepared means having a heavy store of integrity. with a heavy store of integrity, he can overcome everything. Able to overcome everything, no one knows his limits. If no one knows his limits, he can have the kingdom. Having the mother of the kingdom, he can long endure. This is called sinking roots, firm and deep, the way of long life and lasting vision. Take a deep breath in through the nose, bringing in the white light in through the nostrils, filling the lungs completely, and the belly extends with the white light. And exhale through the nose, slowly and completely. And again, bringing in the white light through the nose slowly. Allowing the lungs and stomach to completely fill with the white light. You are not just imagining, you are creating, you are commanding these energies to fill your body, mind, and soul. This is an exercise. In and out through the nostrils, the white light connects you to Source while relaxing your body completely. This energy replaces the outworn beliefs and behaviors. The white light replaces that which you no longer need. Today, we will become more aware of the patterns and beliefs that we have inherited, and that it is time to heal for once and for all. Allow your body to completely relax. And I am now handing you a red flower. Take in that red flower. Imagine it coming into your hands. What does it look like? How bright or brilliant is it? How alive does it look? This is a reflection of the current state of your first chakra, the Muladhara, your foundations. Foundations that need us to be completely present in our body for longevity, vitality, vigor, and sustenance. Imagine yourself breathing in that white light and it being channeled down your arms, through your arms, into that flower that is your first chakra. And with every breath, with every inhalation of the white light, it feeds this flower. You see it grow. You see it blossom. You see it growing larger and brighter. With every inhalation, you see, you imagine, you feel that white light coming in through the nostrils, going down to the chest, down the arms, out through the fingertips and into that flower, until that flower is outstretched all the way to your elbows. Once you see this, it turns into a brilliant orb of red and white light. A red and white light orb, large and brilliant, energetic, vital, filled with vigor. And just place that red orb down at the very, very root, the very bottom of your spinal column. Ah, very good. There's your root chakra, back in its natural energy. It's a part of your vigor. It's a part of your connection to Earth, to Mother Earth. And now you see another flower come towards you. It's placed in your hand. What color is this flower? And what does it look like? This flower represents the other energy, the other chakra in your systems that is interacting currently with this first chakra. It represents what you need now to sustain your livelihood, to give you greater free will, greater will to live, greater freedom in all of your endeavors. This flower, in your mind's eye, the color represents the chakra that is either helping or inhibiting your first chakra. And how big or how open this flower is tells you if it's helping or hindering this first chakra. Let's help it for a moment. Take a deep breath in. And this time you're going to breathe in the golden light in through the nostrils. And this time the breath is going to go up into your brain, until there's a brilliant golden orb centered in the center of your brain. Electric, magnetic, powerful, and beaming golden light coming out of every corner of your brain. That golden light reaches outside of your skull, around your head. And it magnifies, it electrifies that flower in your hand. As that golden light expands, as it intensifies, it sends energy to the flower in your hand. Allow that flower to grow larger and brighter with its connection to that golden light in your brain. And now take that flower as it becomes an orb of light itself and place it in your body wherever you feel it should go. Just allow your hand to move to that spot. And once it's in your body, you can relax your hands. And we're going to create an orb of light around us as a shield, as a protection, so that our energies can be sustained. In the root chakra, down at the base of your spinal column, that red orb of light, in its very center is white. And that white light, with each breath, moves up the spinal column, up the spinal column, gently. With each breath, you imagine it moving up the spinal column, electrifying the spinal column. That white light goes up through the neck, up to the brain, and it merges with that golden light. And I will count backwards from 3 to 1. And when we reach the number 1, that golden white light is going to expand and burst out together, out through the crown of the head and around the body, so that you are encapsulated in a pure, golden, white light. 3, 2, 1. And it bursts forth from every direction, and you're in a cocoon of golden white light, completely protected, contained. You feel, you sense, and you see every side of you has a protective shield of golden white light. It's above your crown. It's below your feet. It's around the front of your body. It's around the back of your body. Oh, and just center yourself in that golden cocoon of light, knowing that you're completely safe. It is safe to be in your body now, fully present with your body. And now we're going to move down. We're going to sink our roots long and deep into Mother Earth until we get to our sacred space. I will count backwards from 5 to 1 as we descend down into Mother Earth. 5 down, 4 down, down. You move through the crust of Mother Earth, down deep inside of her. 3 down, 2 down, and 1. And you're in your sacred space, still surrounded with that golden orb of light. And this time, in your sacred space, you notice a yellow cube. Where is that yellow cube? In your sacred space. Walk to it. It is large enough for you to enter and completely safe. Take grounded steps until you can enter that yellow cube. And you get inside, still in that golden cocoon of light, and you sit inside this yellow cube. Every side is perfectly square and yellow and transparent. Oh, your foundations. Your foundations. So much you have learned. So many challenges you came through and healed. And all along, with so much information inherited, on the left side of your body, you will feel a presence. The presence of a master who's here to guide you back through generations on your father's side. One generation back on the male side of the family. Aunts and uncles. You don't need to think. Just assess the energy as you move with this master towards the left side of your body. And you breathe simply and gently. And you just recognize, while staying completely safe and protected, that there's energies, always conflict, turmoil, illness, fear. And move back another generation. The grandfathers and grandmothers, great uncles, great aunts on your father's side. All they had witnessed, all they had accumulated, all they had come to learn and know, all the decisions they made out of necessity. And go back one more generation, great-great-grandparents on the father's side. Go with that master. Great-great-grandparents. All the children they had, family, struggles, decisions. And in this lineage, there is an information stream coming to you now. Let you know it is time for this imprint to be healed. Allow it to come to you. And just breathe. And that golden light around you completely dissolves that inherited stream of conflict, turmoil, fear, anything that kept them from being grounded and safe in their bodies. And you can feel it lighten up, and you feel it dissolved, and you come back centered right in your body. And you notice that red orb of light down at that root chakra, still glowing bright. Just allow that all to clear. Allow that all to clear. And now, the right side of your head, by your shoulder, another master appears. You'll feel the tingling or the energy heat up in that area. The master is here to assist you in moving back generations on your mother's side, to relinquish those imprints, those inherited beliefs that do not sustain you. Go back to your mother's side, aunts and uncles. The master takes you there. You're still in that golden orb of light, just moving to the right with your master. And back another generation, your grandparents and your great aunts and uncles. The strains, the struggles. And back another generation to your great-grandparents on your mother's side. Great-grandparents, their families, all the children they had. You can feel that line of information. And you're still within that protective golden cocoon of light that now dissolves this imprint as you become aware of what that imprint was that did not sustain you. And it dissolves as you move back to the grandparents, back to the mother, back into your body inside of the yellow cube. Allow those lines of information to be completely dissolved on the right side of your body. And you just breathe into your body inside the cube. All of that information where beings passed on an idea that we might not be safe is not true now. It is dissolved forever. And I will say to you, mighty God in all, we face thy eternal sunrise and receive thy radiance in thy activity now. White and golden light, you're 100% inside the cocoon of white and golden light. Inside the yellow cube, completely grounded, completely safe. It is your choice, it is your free will to let go of that which does not sustain you. It is your free will to let go of the imprints that do not hold you safe, secure, and with strong foundations. You choose if you are ready to be 100% present and free of the consciousness that once held you back. A giant bird flies into your sacred space right in front of your cube. Its wingspan as large as you can imagine. That bird looks at you, and you're going to walk out of that cube and get on the back of that bird. Put your arms around its neck, and you're going to fly. You're going to fly. And the bird takes off. And you're moving up above Mother Earth, letting go. Letting go of those past imprints. Higher and higher you fly. Up above the trees you soar. Free. Completely free. You know what it feels like now to fly. To be free of the attachments to the survival mode on Mother Earth. You choose to thrive. Feel the freedom when you let go of the attachments and you fly high with that bird. Over the trees, over the lakes and ponds. Free. And you notice your body in the distance, sitting in that chair, doing this activation. And you're going to take this freedom, take your spirit into your body. I'm going to count backwards from 5 to 1, and with each number, you're going to descend with that bird closer and closer to your body until at number 1, you'll be wide awake and your spirit will have merged with your body. 5. Begin descending. 4. Put your attention completely on your body sitting in that chair. 3. Make a rapid descent with that bird. Rapid descent in your body. 2. And you wiggle your toes and you wiggle your fingers. You're completely in your body. Completely in your body. Red orb at the base of your spinal column. Grounded to the earth. And 1. Open your eyes and you're wide awake. It is time in all of our lives to have the free will choice to relinquish that which does not sustain us. You're becoming aware of what that is. Grab your journal, put that pen in your non-dominant hand, and please end this by writing 3 sentences why you feel safe now. This is not of the brain. This is of the soul. Allow it to come through the pen. Instead of thinking, just allow the pen to write and find out what your soul is saying. Why you are so safe, grounded, and ready to be fully present today. Namaste.